Hello everyone, this is Godzilla Wolf 1 and I am back with another Neverwinter Livestream. Decided to go with this because I was in a D&D mood and we hadn't played it for a while, so this is what we are going to be doing. We'll see how this goes. This game can be a little finicky at times. But I'm going to message this out. I apologize, there was no live stream on Wednesday. I was just very tired. Yeah, I just had to get up early on Wednesday and was just very tired, so I was not in the mood to do a live stream. I apologize about that. But here we are, and sorry, I felt like I was gonna sneeze. I do like this game. We're not going to go through all the expansions, at least not in a row. We're probably mostly going to play to the end of the basic story mode. And then sometime later pick up where we left off with the other story modes, which also we still have, also I still have some keys left. I don't have the premium account anymore. I didn't really want to get one every month or anything, so but I did save up some lockbox keys, so if we get any of those I can open them. But I like this game a good bit, but I haven't been playing it as much as I used to. Mainly because I've beaten story mode quite a few times. I mean, twice before. With my 2 alts. And while, yes, there is a good... Hi, XX. So yeah, we'll play this for a bit and see what happens. But yeah, I was just very exhausted on Wednesday, so that's why. But I do like this game. I also forget where we were. Okay, let's get started. So, back to Linnea, who I believe we said character-wise was from more of a wretched hive area. And that has to do with her backstory. Oh, you mean wormlings? Unfortunately, no, that's still gonna take a while.
Kalimvor, watch over you. For years, the Tree of Souls was the site of choice for the mass burial of bandits and criminals. Many despicable men are interred beneath its roots. But so are innocent souls who are wrongly accused and unjustly executed. As a result, the area near the tree is infused with an evil spiritual energy. Valindra's Thayan wizards have found a way to tap into this energy and are using it to fuel their rituals. Acolyte Naaman believes a ritual cleansing of the area will disperse the energy, which she will need to protect her during the ceremony. Go, speak to her.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I can understand why. But it's just the fact this is an MMO. There's no crystal spheres, it's not Spelljammer. I think that is the case.
I'm glad you are to be my guardian for this ceremony. The power of Kalimdor protects me from the undead while I am performing the ritual, but I cannot complete the ritual while defending myself. It is your job to make sure I can concentrate on the rites and prayer.
Oh, wait, no, I did not. Well, we just joined a guild on a complete accident, but oh well.
I can
Really
feel the
kill
evil
an
power
undead
pulsing from the
champ.
tree. We must prevent the Thayans from using it. Remember, I can protect myself from the undead.
Oh yeah, that's what
performing
happened.
the ritual, but I can't make any progress toward completing it while under attack. Preventing that is your job. I have to perform the rites several times in several locations to fully cleanse this place. Follow me.
Oh yeah.
Are you ready? I'm starting the ritual now.
Fortunately, I am a...
Wasn't enough. We have to find the source of the evil.
I forget what my powers are.
I'm starting the ritual. Get ready.
Okay, yellow paint or glowing trail is the only Watsonian way to guide players they know. Yeah, fair point.
Are you ready? I'm starting the ritual now.
Fortunately, I'm a cleric, so this is not the most difficult of things.
It's the tree. We have to do the final ritual there. Are you ready? I'm starting the ritual now.
Yeah, that is probably something some players would do.
Praised. We did it. Let's hurry back.
Yeah, after this we're going to check to see what powers I've got, because I genuinely don't remember. Okay, so here's Lyanna. Just a reminder. I don't necessarily like her outfit, but we're probably going to get other stuff to do with that. Okay, so let's see. We got Dodge. We have Channel Divinity, which is, you know, recharges over time. Daunting Light deals radiant damage to enemies at target location. Okay, simple enough. That's the one that just drains energy down from the heavens. Gias deals radiant damage to target enemy. And Bastion of Health heals allies at the target location. Okay, so that's the healing thing. Would you date her maybe after a few drinks and import Tavern Light? Yeah, D&D is fun. Even wine or Dwarven ale? Over wine or Dwarven ale. Okay, and then Guardian of Faith deals radiant damage to target enemy. A circle which reduces the damage taken by allies within for 10 minutes, 10%. Okay. And then our two basic powers deliver a threefold attack, dealing fire damage and radiant damage to target. Okay. And then we have Soothing Prayer. Whenever you channel Divinity, you receive a heal over time, which is always great. 3% more healing from hit points. 3 critical strike and 3 bonus power, and ability to interact with religious objects. And these are all... Okay, let's Oh yeah, the Alright, let's ignore that because that was a complete accident. Here we follow Illuminator, the god of perseverance and martyrdom. We're from Luskan, a wretched hive, which I remember we decided to be a cleric because of the idea we were doing something about that. You know, we were trying to do something about that in our hometown.
The loss of the corrupting power of the Tree of Souls should slow the Red Wizard's rituals. Hopefully, it has bought us the time we need to stop them completely. One of Valindra's lieutenants, Zivros, is attempting to raise a powerful ogre warlord as an undead servant. It took 10 heroes to bring down Arleon the Unforgiven when he was mortal. An undead version of him would be truly formidable. Go to the Thayan camp deep in the ruins of Neverdeath. Stop this ritual. Zivros is successful. Arleon will lead an undead army against Neverwinter.
Okay, and we'll level up for doing so. Also, we got armor, another new piece of armor, which is nice. Oh yeah, Yeah, that looks a bit more... Yeah, that looks better. Hey, trooper, we're about to deal with an ogre. Okay, yeah, that breastplate looks so much better. Like, that armor just in general looks a lot better. Though, the color scheme... I think I'm going to change the color scheme. Oh, we can't yet. Oh, wait, yeah, we can. Not sure what color scheme would work best for this character. We'll think on that later. But the armor looks a lot better. But, yeah, speaking of D&D, this week, on that one RPG, on that, one campaign where I'm a Luxodon rogue, things did not go well for the vampire spawn we ended up dealing with because, well, they were trapped with a rogue inside of a, and a rogue and a paladin in an enclosed space with lots of stuff for the rogue to hide behind, and the other one was trapped with a and the other was with a necromancer and a morgue. That fight did not last very long. And it was funny, the DM was like, when it was brought up that that was the situation, the DM just, response was, "Oh, I did not think of that." But to his credit, the DM did take it very well, and was just, and had fun with it too. It was just more of a matter of, I did not actually think of that. And he even had one of the undead that got raised by the necromancer be a paladin who kept some of his class levels. Okay. And then it turned out that the vampire spawn were technically not bad guys, but not... They were vampire spawn. They weren't technically alive. Okay, so, yeah, we're gonna... deal with that guy. But yeah, it turned out that there were Van Helsing hate crimes going on, and the vampire spawn were the minions of a benevolent vampire. And a long story short, it's a homebrew setting where undead are not alignment locked. So unlike baseline D&D, where vampires are normally lawful evil, I believe, by default, in this setting they can be any morality. So... yeah. But yeah, it's getting fun, and we're going to move on to the next part soon, but we'll see how it goes. I forget, did we get companions yet? I don't think we did. No, we have not gotten companions yet. Cleric does better once it gets a companion. Yeah, I do have the DLC for Gigabash. For those that don't know, it's King Ghidorah and Hedorah. Or Hedorah. I can't... I don't remember which name is correct for that. Ghidorah is to be expected. Like, everyone expected King Ghidorah. Hedorah is a bit of a weird one, but not an Okay, but not an unwarranted one. I think there's stuff over here. There's probably stuff over here. It's helpful that I'm a cleric fighting undead. It's kind of the entire shtick of cleric. Well, one of Cleric's entire shticks. Healing is the other. Though... But yeah, I've played them both. They're both fun, but I think King Ghidorah is more fun. Is the more fun of the two. I kind of wish they hadn't used Heisei Ghidorah's design, but... what you gonna do? Yeah, this is kind of the annoying part about it. Like, I'm now reminding one reason this game kind of gets a little dull to me at times. It's just the kind of... You only have so many things you can do. Oh yeah, I forgot I can recharge my channel divinity. Yeah, I'm probably not going to actually play this all the way through in one go. We're probably going to just go do it every now and then, because I'm reminded that this is fun for me, but it's not the most exciting thing to watch. But regardless, yeah, Ghidorah's fun. Hedorah is also fun, but I genuinely prefer Ghidorah. He's just more of a fun character to play. Let me check something really quick. Okay, now the other D&D party that I'm DMing for, there was a bit of a fun thing where during a fight with a orc leader, like with the fight with an orc boss, the orc boss had a giant bat. Like, the orc boss had a giant bat as his mount. Well, the druid actually successfully convinced the giant bat to change sides. Oh, that's certainly a problem. Oh, let's take care of you guys first. Okay, that took out a big chunk of his health. Okay. We need to regen our divine power here. That could have been trouble if I'd actually gotten hit. Again, I'm a cleric fighting undead. It's kind of part and parcel of their thing. But yeah, the druid managed, the party druid just like, you know, I want to convince this giant bat to change sides using a combination of animal friendship and me just talking to it. And, well, surprise, surprise, he actually managed to succeed in that. He got the good enough rolls, and he succeeded in doing so, which, you know, is always fun. And I allowed him to convince the bat to change sides and join the party, and afterwards he managed to befriend it, and it is now his friend.
Sent us to aid you with Arlion, but it seems you handled it yourself. Kellenborn must be watching over you. Do you wish to accompany us back to camp?
Okay, we have successfully finished that mission.
Kellenborn, what? I should no longer be surprised at how greatly you surpass expectations. Arlion sent many heroes to an early grave. Only fitting that you should return him to his. Your defeat of Arlion and Zivros, and your victory at the Tree of Souls, seems to have convinced Valindra to cut her losses. The number of undead in Pauper's Field is diminishing, and new Doom Guides are on the way. We should soon have this area under control again. I see now why Sergeant Knox spoke so highly of you.
Okay, and we leveled up.
You've done a great deal to stabilize the situation in Pauper's Field. The Doom Guides can deal with the undead that remain. There is something else I'd like your help with now. We received reports of strange purple-clad figures operating in the portion of the graveyard known as Craftsman's Rest. That means little to me, but it seems to have drawn the attention of the Harpers, and anything that concerns the Harpers is certain to be trouble. You'll find Harper Windle not far from here. She will tell you more.
Okay, now let's... see what we unlocked. Divine Glow, reduce your threat by half. Divine Regeneration. Okay, so if we use that, we'll regenerate over time, which I think at present might be the better choice than Bastion of Health. Because Bastion of Health is once we have a partner, that'll be a different story, but... okay, good. We don't actually see the helmet because our head is shaped awkwardly, and I'm fine with that. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big fan of helmets in video games. I really am not, actually. Well, in video games with characters that are meant to be customizable, I don't really like helmets, because I did all this work making this character's face look right. So why am I...
From what Doom Guide Volok has told me, you are just the sort of person I am. The purple-clad intruders at Craftsman's Rest are well known to the Harpers. They are members of the Cult of the Dragon, a group dedicated to restoring control of the world to dragon overlords. Whatever brings them here, we can be certain it won't bode well for Neverwinter. The Cult of the Dragon does not usually operate so openly. Defeat them and search them for messages, orders, any document you can find. If you can collect enough, I should be able to crack the code. Oh, and if you have time, see if you can aid that scholar Chetterville over there. He can be odd, but his research may come in handy.
Okay, let us...
Have I told you I'm a genius? Good day. Christopher Chettlebell, Neverwinter's preeminent historian at your service. I am currently in the employ of Zami Monini, of the Black Lake Moninis. Miss Monini hired me to perform research into her family's history. While we were inspecting the family crypts in Craftsman's Rest, we were set upon by uncouth hooligans in purple robes. I managed to escape, but Miss Monini was less fortunate. No ransom demand has been put forth, so I fear for my employer and my income. You must rescue her.
Okay, so this guy is more concerned with his own with his own thing than his boss that he left back there. But we, we can concern ourselves with that. Okay, so now we get to one of the fun parts of MMO. You get, like, fetch quests. Which I'm... Okay, I actually think that's worse than the other one. So we'll just... I'm going to switch those two back because I genuinely feel that one is... that the big AoE heal is probably better than the... Okay, there's another group over there. But yeah, I think everyone agrees that the whole fetch quest part of MMOs is one of the more annoying, where you gotta, you know, get a certain amount of items or whatever. Okay. Let's find some more minions. Okay. Okay, let's do this. And didn't get a single one out of that. Okay, now I just need one more. But yeah, this is kind of always one of the style of missions I just do not like, and it takes me out of an MMO, because it's just like, okay, now I gotta take time to deal with this situation. Okay, there we go. Because I genuinely just prefer that they, like, let you continue the game instead of having to do stuff like that. But whatever. It's just how video games work. I think every MMO in existence probably does that. Well, every MMO, it's just typical of them. Hi, Holy Cross. Nothing much. We just defeated an undead ogre. Okay. But, yeah. Oh, happy birthday, Holy Cross. Okay, take care of you. But yeah, so the back to the whole D&D thing. The druid did manage to befriend the giant bat and convince it to join the party, and now they have a giant bat. The giant bat is not really going to be too useful. Like, they've got a flying mount now, which is, of course, useful, but, like, in actual combat, it's not going to be too useful. Oh, yeah, I remember, there are going to be traps in here, I think. Okay. That. Well, that's good. Always nice. Also, they managed to successfully convince the Were-Rat Queen and her pack to leave, and the Were-Rat Queen did ask the druid to later maybe visit her for a date. So that happened. So that's the end of that. Dragon of Icefire Peak is almost over. There's not that much left. Okay, I don't know what I did accidentally did there. And then after that, my party is going to start Vecna Eve of Ruin, which our DM is really looking forward to, and so am I. Because, it's going to be a multiversal thing. Like I said last time, I think I mentioned it last time. If I didn't, my character, or the Undead Orc Warlord, was just a shambling corpse. Yeah, that is also possible, that it was just a shambling corpse without his strategic mind in there. That's also a very real possibility. Raphresia is my upcoming... most likely going to be my character for Eve of Ruin. There is a possibility I'm going to use another one, a different one, but it's looking like Vecna's going to be my go-to. I mean, not Vecna. Raphresia is going to be my character. I think I mentioned her before, but if I didn't, she's a Fey Wanderer Ranger. I finally decided on her being a Ranger. Yeah, 5e Rangers got a good bit of flack early on because the first version of them wasn't all that great, and is it just a bunch of bodies? This is a bunch of bodies, that's creepy. Then again, this is the Cult of the Dragon, so what do you expect? Okay, they're all taken care of. But the idea with Raphresia is she has the Fey Lost background, which basically means she was lost in the Feywild as a kid. And ended up growing up there, and only recently did she arrive back in the real, quote-unquote, real world. Now, it should be noted, and this is something I've heard people say, the Feywild's actually been a thing in D&D all along, all the way back in 2nd edition. It just was not called the Feywild until recently. but it's the world of the Fae. That's what it is. It's the world of the fairies. I think at one point it was... but... yeah, that's where she was all this time, and she's a Fae Wanderer Ranger. Which, Fae Wanderers are really cool because they have a... they're interesting because they're rangers that can effectively be a face. Because they can use wisdom to boost their charisma. Because their charisma is boosted by like a glamour. So they're kind of supernaturally no evil than Belcar. Yes, more evil than Belcar. I know what you're referencing. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. Oh yeah, Belcar from Order of the Stick. Yeah. Funny thing with Belcar in Order of the Stick that I find amusing is when you get down to it, he started out, I believe, chaotic evil. I believe his starting alignment was chaotic evil. But he kind of, like, I'm not sure if he's undergone a full alignment shift yet, but he feels more chaotic neutral at this point than chaotic evil. Because at the very least, he's no longer pure selfishness. Like, I would not say that Belcar is chaotic good at this point, but I would say he's not necessarily chaotic evil anymore. Will never work as a video game. Yeah, that's on... well, I hear Baldur's Gate 3 is really good, but unfortunately I can't play that. I wish that they'd made Baldur's Gate 3 for PS4 and PS5. Your wits against your opponents. Yeah, that is also true. That's a problem with video games, is video games need to have a pre-programmed thing to them. But you can never really get out of a... yeah. There we go. Yeah, and that's the fun of it. Like, that is the fun of D&D, is the ability to basically do whatever you want, be whatever character you want. And that's something video games can never really capture.
Thank you. Did Christopher send you? I'm not sure what the cultists wanted with me. From what little I was able to overhear, it sounds as if they are searching for something that belonged to one of my ancestors, Romani Molini. I did hear them use the name Azarcel a number of times, if that means anything to you. Well, since you have dealt with the cultists so efficiently, I believe I can find my own way home. Thank you again for rescuing me.
Well, to be fair, an Orc Raider the Orc Raider wasn't the best owner. The Druid was just a... well, the Druid was just a nicer person, so... But it was fun. But, yeah, like, the thing with, Belcar is that how you pronounce his name? Belcar? Is, like, I don't feel like he's not pure selfishness anymore. He actually does have a bit of a more, like, he cares about his friends, at least now. Like, he cares about the rest of the Order. And about his pet Allosaurus. What is his pet Allosaurus? His pet Allosaurus, I believe, is named, Bloodfeast, I think is the name of his Allosaurus.
I'm so relieved my benefactor was retrieved unharmed. Now I may continue my studies, without the worry of financial insolvency.
If more people chose cremation, we wouldn't have these problems.
Give me a second to examine these. Interesting. While you were hard at work in Craftsman's Rest, I had the most intriguing conversation with our young genius, Christopher Chettlebell. I'm certain now that the Thayans are attempting to enter the old Water Clock Guild crypts. Something tells me it would be wise to prevent that. The Red Wizards and their Knoll allies are looting the tombs of Craftsman's Rest, hoping to find the secret of unlocking the Water Clock tomb. Capture any artifacts they have found and bring them to me. Perhaps we can solve this puzzle ourselves.
And
Miss Monini said her captors spoke of someone named Azazel. I seem to remember coming across that name while researching her family. I need one of my books, The Annals of Neverdell, to confirm my suspicions. Unfortunately, I lost the book when I made my hasty departure from Craftsman's Rest. As I fled, I saw gnolls tearing open my pack and pawing through the book inside. They did alarming damage to them. Pages were flung everywhere. Please search the artisan's tomb and recover my research materials. We need to know what these cultists are searching for.
And, like, okay, if my party was more malicious and evil, I might do that. But my party's not really that way, so most likely I'm going to, like, but I might save that idea for if I ever do have a party who decides to go evil. Which, you never know. That does, you do occasionally get a party of murder hobos. Has anyone else ever had a party of murder hobos? Like, well, I mean, has anyone actually had a party of murder hobos? I've never encountered a murder hobo. Fortunately. Like, has anyone ever, like, I've never encountered an actual murder hobo. And, you know, pregnant, like, that's the thing is, I think honor depends on your personal, like honor, if the party does or does not do things honorably, it kind of depends on the party in question. Like, some parties are just like, I could care less about honor, I'm just going to win. Which tends to be the rogue thing to do, I think. Like, I think rogues tend to fall into that category of, I'm going to... I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win, but like you can't. Well, the thing is, you can do an honorable rogue. Like, you theoretically could do an honorable rogue fairly easily. Like, I think Inquisitive Rogue would be really good for that in 5e, because it's kind of the Sherlock Holmes sort of deal, like detective sort of deal. So. Yeah, I do have a Inquisitive Rogue, Lawful Good Dragonborn Rogue, Inquisitive Rogue, but I'm not using her for Eve of Ruin because Eve of Ruin is a high-level campaign, starting at level 10. Like, if it started at level 1, if Eve of Ruin started at level 1, then yes, I would use her. Her name's Missy. I would use her if the game started at level 1. but it doesn't. Yeah, happy birthday, Holy Cross. Evil Ruin starts at level 10, and Nessie is one of those characters who will work best in a campaign starting at level 1 because of her motivations. So like, her motivation is to prove that her work is not for nothing. Like, she's a forensic specialist, and part of her motivation is to make everyone realize that a forensic specialist has a place in a world with, like, speak with dead and all of that. That's only her motive, her main motive. And that really only works if you start out as in a campaign where you're already a nobody. You're supposed to be an adventure group game. Why is this game about you stealing stuff? Yeah, that is one annoying thing with me. You do get companions eventually. Like, eventually you do get a companion. And that's kind of the annoying thing, is you get a companion. And that kind of irritates me a bit. Like, that does annoy me, and I wish that it was not the case. I wish you could have multiple companions and stuff. But you can't, and that annoys me. But yeah, like, Nissi is the kind of character I'd use for a level 1 campaign. You know, where a campaign starting at level 1 or level 3 or something like that. Because she's the kind of character who's perfect for the from zero to hero fantasy. But Eve of Ruin starts at level 10 when your character is expected to... Attention, Call of the Dragon, bow. That's actually a funny mental image. But yeah, like, Nissi does not work for... Nissi's story arc I have planned does not work for a level 10 starting party where you're already supposed to be a big deal. So that's why I'm not using her, even though I used her in the prologue. Because the way I see it is... Okay, hello bad guys. But yeah, I wish this game had more characters, larger teams. There is team content in this game, but it's only multiplayer. Like, it's only multiplayer, and that's kind of annoying. You can have a companion. But yeah, like, back to the Eve of Ruin. Nissi is the kind of character I'd play at the start of a campaign, not the kind of character I play at the start after your character's already meant to be an experienced protagonist. So it's one of those things where I'm like, I could use her, but... And it is fun to imagine the idea of this constable from a small town in Faerun going on to become one of the heroes who saves the multiverse from Vecna. That is a cool idea. But the starting level of 10 means that she does not work. Her character arc would not work because it's like, I'm already level 10. What do I have to prove? Where her character arc is meant to be having to prove herself, and a level 10 character is already someone who you should take seriously, because a level 10 character is one that has already gone on their fair share of adventures beforehand. Or, oh, we're not like Dracula vampires, we're from Twilight, nice goes all around. Oh, what's, that behind you? Chomp sucks. Eh. Okay, I ended up falling off a cliff, and I really need to just be back here. But, man, it depends. Like, that's the thing. It's a homebrew setting, so he can do whatever he wants with vampires. Gozon is the second in command of the Nashers, the first top lieutenant to the faction's true leader, Auron Bladeshaper, a crafty but violent man. Karzo has never hesitated to use subtlety as well as outright force in his plans. Famously, he once organized a very damaging riot to distract the Neverwinter Guard while he and a handful of other Nashers and one of the Guard's high-ranking officers. It is well known that Kavrar is in charge of the Nasher takeover of Black Lake. His motives for doing this were not understood, however, until he masterminded the theft of the crown of Neverwinter. With Bladeshaper nowhere to be found, it's unclear whether Kezlov is acting as part of a larger Nasher plot or if this is the first step of a coup. Okay, that's interesting. But, yeah, like, back to that. Like, yeah, so yeah, while it'd be interesting, having the idea of a small town constable becoming one of the heroes who saves the multiverse from Vecna is cool. At the same time...
Ah! You've returned with my book! Oh, it's in such a state! Nevertheless, I must persevere. Let's take a look. Ye gods! Small wonder Valindra and the cult of dragons are fighting each other. Azazel is the name of a blue dragon, and he is imprisoned in the clockwork tomb.
No, that's not good.
Nice work. I'll confer with Chettlebell and see if we can make any sense of these. Chettlebell fills me in about the dragon.
Oh,
I'm sure you know how bad
hand.
it would be if that dragon gets loose. Or worse yet, falls under Valindra's control. According to Chettlebell, the way into the Water Clock Guild Tomb is locked by a complex mechanism. Multiple physical seals must be activated before you can enter. Valindra's minions don't know about this, so they are trying to enter the tomb by force. That gives you a chance to get there first, but you need to activate those seals.
Well, you see, the simple answer to how to get past that situation, dog draws source of William, he's even giving their services.
Apparently, Miss Monini's ancestor was both a powerful member of the Water Clock Makers Guild and a dragon cultist with the ring of dragon control. When he died, he gave orders for the dragon Azazel to be entombed with him. You really must deal with Azazel before Valindra or the cultists gain control of him. Harper Windle has knowledge of the tomb's physical locks, but there is also a metaphysical one. I'm afraid you will have to travel to the Shadowfell to trip this final lock. Add this powder to the Eternal Flame in Craftsman's Rest to open a portal to the Shadowfell.
Yeah, we gotta go to the Shadowfell. Like, here's the thing to me and that is funny, but like, here's the thing to me: an honorable character is completely doable, and so is an honorless character. The thing that I would want my players to avoid is okay, well, here's the thing: is honor is an interesting concept. Like a friend of mine pointed out, the interesting thing with Zuko's arc and Avatar isn't him regaining his honor, it's him realizing he was the only one that had honor at all. Like, from the perspective of Fire Nation, Zuko was a honorless person, but from the... Okay, can't use that. Yeah, those don't really affect my appearance very much, because they're underneath the armor. But, like, I think the thing is that you can have a character that doesn't... Hang on a second. Okay, sorry about that. My mom needed me to do something really quick. Kind of is annoying when that happens in the middle of a stream, but whatever. And also that's funny. Like, I like, the thing I want my players to avoid isn't having a character that's without honor. Like, Enril, my Luxodon rogue, is not very honorable at all. Like, his priority, like, he's a good guy, but he's not a honorable character. He's more of a, where he wants with, I worry about those words. We need a baseline, a universal language for our stories and fantasies, or there'll be no common ground. Yeah, okay, yeah, that is fair. Hard to tell. But, like, I don't... Like, Enril has no real honor when it comes to fighting or anything. But he has a code where he'll only screw over bad people. No, he's not like Johnny Cage pre-character development. He's just he's a good guy, but he's chaotic good, and he will screw over bad people, but he'll never harm a good person. Oh wait, no, that's not what I want to do. Need to go this way. To the Shadowfell! But Enril will never hurt a good person or trick a good person. Well, okay, never trick a good person with the intent to harm. He might lie about his intentions and stuff if it's necessary, but he won't hurt a good person. So, but he still doesn't really care about honor. Now, if you're a paladin, I think paladins by necessity need to have honor. Like, I feel that's part of being a paladin, is some sense of honor, because even though 5e removed the lawful good requirement, paladins still have oaths they have to follow. Like, every paladin character has an oath that goes with their subclass. And okay, well, we have to wait until we can get back on because the game does stuff like this. Like, I feel like if you play a paladin, you technically have to be some degree of lawful good by default, because you have to follow a strict code. Also, I am reminded... yeah, I will. I am reminded of, once more, Order of the Stick, where Durkan, is that how you pronounce his name? I remember the character, I cannot remember how you pronounce his name. Where his ex is a cleric of Loki. And dwarf culture requires a great deal of honor, or you end up going... your soul does not go to Valhalla. But Loki's clerics have the loophole of, well, I don't want to be an honor-bound person. Well, if you follow Loki, you don't have to be, because it is if you're a cleric of Loki, it is honorable to be dishonorable. There's protesting insult to their domain. Oh yeah, because the realms of dread in that retcon. Like, I think the Shadowfell always existed. But they did some changes with it that not everyone likes. But, like, I find that interesting is that the, Loki's followers, in Order of the Stick, get into, Valhalla because they made because if you're following Loki, it's honorable to be dishonorable. If I remember, that's basically the way it works, is if you're a cleric of Loki, you still get into Valhalla because... Yeah, and, like, here's my take on that. I understand, not liking that, and that's perfectly fine. But my take on it is, I follow the game designer's statement that every table is canon, and every edition is canon, because that is how it works. Is every edition of D&D is still canon, even if a new edition's come out. So if you want to have your own section of the multiverse where that is still the case, where the older version is still in play, then that's perfectly fine. But I understand the dislike of it. I believe the only person who's ever gotten one over on the Dark Powers is Vecna. Because if I remember, he managed to escape their plane by his own power, where with Lord Soth, they just got bored. Like, with Lord Soth, the Dark Powers just got bored. Because Lord Soth was just not fun for them. will say I do like the idea of Ravenloft. I do like that idea of where these powerful villains who have somehow crossed the point of no return are all sent to both be lords of their own area, but also prisoners of that area. Which I find a very intriguing concept. I believe that the way, if I'm not mistaken, the way it works is essentially you have complete control, but there's always going to be the one thing you want outside of your grasp. Like, I believe with Strahd, there's one, it's his wife? Or his lover? I believe it's his lover that he can never have, no matter what he does. So essentially, if you are chosen to be a Dark Lord of the Ravenloft, you have essentially you're essentially borderline the strongest. You rule over your area of the plains of Ravenloft with full power. Like complete power. It's your sovereign territory, but there's one thing that you will never be able to get that you want more than anything. I believe did I have that right? Is that how that works if you're chosen as a Dark Lord? Is essentially you'll have borderline whatever you borderline complete control over your area, but you'll always be unable to get the one thing that you can never, there's always going to be the one thing that's outside of your grasp. With Strahd, I think it's his lover, isn't it? Like with Strahd, I think it's his lover, or the person he... Yeah, I forget what Soth went through, but and even the fact that the Dark Lord can be defeated is part of it. Like, in Curse of Strahd, you can kill Strahd. You can destroy Strahd completely, but eventually he'll just come back. Like, eventually he will just be... because the Dark Powers won't let him go. Like, so it doesn't matter how many times Strahd is destroyed, until the Dark Powers are bored with him, he'll never move on. Where Soth basically just accepted that he deserved his fate and just did not play the game, and the Dark Powers just got bored. Where Vecna, I believe, ascended to godhood, to demigodhood. I believe that's how Vecna escaped. Like, he ascended to divinity. Yeah, is that only the case with if a Dark Lord defeats another Dark Lord? Because if I remember, Strahd can be defeated by player characters as often as he likes. But if, like, when Lord Soth barged into his kingdom and they fought, if one beat the other, would that be what happened? Like, it's like you only get your... Because I remember Soth keeps coming back, but that might just be a special case where the dark powers just specifically want to keep Strahd there.
Excellent! Once the physical seals are taken care of, you should be able to enter the Watercloak Guild tomb.
These are harsh working conditions for a scholar.
Excellent. Let's hope you get into the Watercloak tombs before Valindra.
Excellent! You should be able to enter the Clockwork Tomb via the main entrance now. You'd best hurry. Harper Windle's spies report that Valindra's troops are close to breaking through into the tomb. If Valindra gets her hands on the Cult of the Dragon artifacts buried with Romani Manini and Frieze Azazel, it bodes ill for Neverwinter, and yours truly, of course.
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so I don't know what he did to deserve it. So what was... Okay, so... The dark powers are also interesting. Right, the dark powers are interesting interesting entities. Just for the sake of the fact that they... Yeah, basically in this game, if you want adventuring parties, you kind of got to do it yourself. Yeah, I think the only one that's gotten away with doing 2 of those things is Vecna. Like, because Vecna managed to escape the realms of dread and managed to get one over on the Lady of Pain, but he's the only person to ever get away with that. Even then, he lost, but he ended up losing. What was Vecna's... Like, what was Vecna's thing with the dark powers? Like, that... Like, what was his thing that was held just out of his reach? Like with with Vecna it probably has something to do with power. Because, like, that's the thing with Vecna is at the end of the day, he's ultimately just all about, like, his ambition and power. So... Like, that's kind of the thing with Vecna is his entire drive is just power, power, power. Like, knowledge, more knowledge, but the designers behind Eve of Ruin put it very well, that nothing will ever be enough for Vecna. He will never be content, and as long as he knows there's something more he could a higher plateau he can reach. Because it's like, he was originally a wizard, he became a lich. Oh, that's not good enough. Then he became a demigod, and then he became a god, and a lesser god, and then he became. I think currently he still a lesser god, or is he a greater god now? I can't remember. But even that's not enough, and he wants to become the supreme overlord of all creation. Like that, like, because Vecna will never be happy and content. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the dark powers... I think the dark powers are interesting. Like, the dark powers are interesting entities. Just for the sake of the fact that they... Like, if I'm not mistaken, the dark powers aren't necessarily good or evil. Like, if I'm not mistaken, the dark powers just are kind of chaotic neutral. Like, they're not necessarily, like, they're not evil, but they're not good either. They're kind of more just neutral aligned. Like, I think that's how that goes. But anyway, back to my character for Eve of Ruin. Raphresia is, like I said, was kidnapped, was basically Feylaw. So as a child, she's a changeling. She went through a changeling story in the classical sense, where she was kidnapped by Fey. Okay, there we go. And she was basically... Okay, so she's basically Wendy and Peter Pan, but she had to deal with the original Peter Pan from the novel. The one that wasn't a very nice person. Who essentially kidnapped kidnapped the Lost Boys, convinced them that they were orphans and would kill them if they got too old and stuff like that. So that was the situation she ended up in. She eventually got out. I decided ultimately that, like, her backstory, everyone has a backstory adventure in Eve of Rome because you started at level 10. So hers was managing to ultimately reform Peter. Like, she ultimately got, well, the Peter equivalent. It might just be straight up Peter Pan. We might just straight up say it was a version of Peter Pan. But she managed to reform him and get him to understand what he was doing was wrong, but still remain Peter Pan. So kind of convinced him to go from classic book Peter Pan to, Disney Peter Pan, essentially. But she didn't... It was kind of like Infinity Train's first season at the end, where Tulip redeemed Amelia, but she didn't... It wasn't her place to stick around and help her resolve her problems. Yeah, I've heard of that. So essentially, now she was raised by Fae, and ends up on Faerun, even though she did not originate from Faerun. She originated from Krynn, but she doesn't remember that because her memories ended up getting lost. And when she went to they faded in the Feywild, and of course it did this again. Fortunately, it does not crash the game and send me back to the PS4 and interrupt the stream. That would be... If that happened, we would not be playing this game. One second. Okay. But yeah, Refreja, I won't say she's she's closer to Disney Peter Pan, but she is more mature than Disney Peter to some degree because she's went through her adventures. But the idea behind Refreja is that she's a character who is rightly as powerful as she is, but still hasn't had her full character arc. Because that's one reason I didn't bring some of my some of the rest of the party are bringing back old characters, but I'm not, because my problem is that when I bring back an old character, I want them to still have a story left to tell, and most of my old characters have completed their story arcs already. Oh yeah, he does mature. So I guess maybe to end of movie Peter or sequel Peter. But that's her backstory, and part of her story will revolve around starting to regain her memories from before she ended up getting Fae lost. Okay, let us continue. My other character that I had in mind that is going to be a backup character, and I'm still kind of going back and forth mentally on whether or not I want him to be the character I'm going to use or not, because I'm indecisive at times. Akek, I believe is his name. Aarakocra have weird names. The reason Refreja does not follow the normal Aarakocra naming conventions is she wasn't named by Aarakocra. Well, she has an Aarakocra name, but that name is because Fae. Because, you know, the Fae is, you don't really want to be handing out your true name to everyone, because your true name has power. So she has a real name, a Aarakocra name, but she mostly refuses to tell it to anyone. And Refreja is the name she was given by the Fae. But yeah, part of her, but Akek, the idea with Akek is he's a prize fighter specifically from Greyhawk. I decided he was specifically from Greyhawk, the Greyhawk setting, who who ended up not taking the fall in a match, even though criminals were paying him to, and nearly got killed as a result. And essentially he had to run to protect his daughter. So and it's a mimic. It's a mimic! Yay, mimics! It's not D&D without mimics. Yeah, that reminds me, I think I mentioned it before, but in Dragon of Icespire, I actually did manage to get a player with a mimic, and it was hilarious. Because he was like, I did set it up so it was suspicious, but he just went ahead and touched a barrel anyway. Like, it was suspicious enough that I felt like I didn't just take him completely off guard, but he decided to grab the barrel and open it anyway. And of course it was a mimic, so he ended up with his hand stuck to a mimic, and reacted accordingly. I believe there's actually an entire fan module. I think it's by Coldevald's Press. That's all about mimics. A joke where a mimic appears as a plush couch in the middle of a dungeon. Oh, and in one-shot I did, the players were guarding the horde of a metallic dragon while that dragon was out. And the dragon warned them that some of the treasures in their horde were mimics specifically there to catch robbers off guard. And specifically that this one cup was a mimic. Well, when the villains showed up, they ended up finishing off one of the bosses by throwing the mimic at them. Well, no, it wasn't by throwing the mimic at them, it was by tricking them into grabbing the mimic. So they weaponized the mimic against the boss. To finish the job, which was fun. Also, we rest here for a second, we'll get a bonus. But there actually is a mimic, a specific type of mimic called a horde mimic. That's basically a mimic that's shaped like a dragon's horde, which I find to be a very interesting idea. So I do have a question. What do you think? But okay, back to a Keck. The idea with a Keck that's interesting is, one, he ended up planes jumping to get to protect his daughter, which explains why he's in another plane of reality. But the thing with the Keck that's interesting is he's a monk, but the entire idea with him that I have in mind is he acts more like a fighting sports anime protagonist than a traditional monk, because he's a prize fighter, so everything's reflavored like it would be in a sports fighting anime. So rather than explicitly go supernatural with his abilities, it goes more anime, like anime, sports anime, where stuff that makes no sense somehow still works. And like the fun part with him would be that he's completely straight-laced. Like, he's taking everything completely seriously, but he's still invoking all the tropes of being in a sports anime. So, like, I don't know if I'd have him call his attacks, but he'd still, like, do stuff like that and just take it with complete earnest. Ah, gelatinous cube. You lose this fight, submitting your heel turn. Well, yay, gelatinous cube. Yeah, it's fun to see the gelatinous cube. Well, I mean, that's kind of what the criminals wanted him to do. So I mean more that he'd be the genuinely sort of heroic, like generally heroic fighting protagonist, but the fun part would just be him doing these crazy over-the-top things, but taking it completely seriously. Which, I feel if you're going to do a character like that, they need to take it seriously, even if no one else does. Like, there is something fun of the idea of just the universal dungeon cleaner, yeah. Like, there is just something amusing about the prospect of... Rust monsters are here. I'm not sure if they're in the main game, but they are in one of the side missions. Yeah, they have rust monsters, and I admit I was really happy when they showed up in the D&D movie. Yeah, they're still in the game. And really, it all depends on the DM. Some DMs do go full power fantasy. Some just, some still do the old school, tough as nails D&D. It really depends on the dungeon master you have, because you could really take any official module and tweak it to be much harder. It's not that difficult to do. So if you don't find a module hard enough for your table, you just make it harder. Easiest way to do that is increase the number of enemies or increase the HP. They are, in Honor Amongst Thieves, they are like, I can't remember the exact scene, but I think it's after they get arrested. Like, after the two, Holga and super expensive sword. Yeah, they were like eating some... Okay, hundreds of letters are arranged randomly along the surface of the clockwork box. Bottom of the gibberish, the word ready is clearly spelled out. I am the most ominous and pretentious hour, both the darkest and lightest. What am I? I believe 12. Okay, I've done this before, but I can't, I couldn't remember that. But whoever characters keep a rust monster in a wooden cage to unleash on an iron golem. Yeah, I could see some of my party members doing that. Yeah, that is also true, but part of me is going, like, if my team had mostly been goofballs, which I know my party enough to know that was a possibility, I would have had a Keck just for contrast, but I believe most of the party is just going to be normal characters and a serious one and two goofballs, so Raphrasia is a bit more appropriate. Though I admit part of the fun of if I played a CAC would just be eventually suplexing Strahd. Like, just the idea of this Because Strahd is in the game.
And the right of the Dragonage!
Oh dear.
Oh, hello again. Your friend is well, I hope.
Shoth the Tomb King. If you're wondering if it's going to be a big dramatic boss fight later to deal with that, unfortunately no, it's not. Okay. But, yeah, like, we know, like, basically Eve of Ruin is, it's not a Legion of Doom situation where, like, Vecna somehow assembled all these villains. It's more of a, find the MacGuffin, and it just so happens that each piece of the MacGuffin a villain is trying to use for their own ends. Like, that's more the situation at hand here. Okay, let's recharge here. Okay, there we go. That was actually tougher than the ogre. Yeah, now you're probably wondering, are we going to see the dragon again? The dragon is exclusive to dungeon, like multiplayer raid bosses. It's not a storyline thing, which I honestly don't like that. It feels wrong to do that, but whatever. But yeah, like, that's part of the thing with being a CAC, is like him being that fighting game, that fighting anime protagonist would be fun, because it could mean I could do stuff like flavor his stuff that I'm like doing stuff like suplexing Strahd, which is just a cool image. Like, I like, that's the thing, D&D is something where you can be borderline anything. We're not sure about the context of running into Strahd in that game yet.
Have I told you Valindra escaped with Azazel? Perhaps it's time to visit my academic colleagues in Waterdeep. I suppose you could consider the bright side. Now that Valindra controls an army of gnolls and undead and a blue dragon, it's highly unlikely she will simply go away and leave Neverwinter in peace. I'm sure you'll get another chance to set things right. In the meantime, I must make travel arrangements.
Okay, so complete the quest. And go to our inventory. Okay.
Take care. Valindra's undead and the Cult of the Dragon are no longer a threat here in Neverwinter. We have you to thank. Valindra escaping with the right of the Draco Lich, however, is certainly a setback. We're sure to see her again, though it may take us some time yet to gather the necessary components. We'll be able to keep Neverdeath under control for now. I'm sure Nox will want to hear all about today's events.
Okay. Yeah, at least the music's soothing. Okay.
Protector's Enclave needs your help. So, Valindra escaped with a dragon, and something called the Right of the Draco Lich. That pretty much guarantees we haven't seen the last of her. But you did thwart the Thayan's plans in Neverdeath, and that means we'll have a lot fewer
Yeah, I remember that.
Well done. Well, it seems you have friends in high places. One of them is a real hero of Neverwinter, and a personal friend of mine.
Well, actually, we'll save that for later. That's where we're going to end this. I hope we're not going to be doing this next week because this would be very tedious to do all in one go. So we'll be doing something different next, possibly Just Cause 4. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye. I still don't have a catchphrase.